The Four Knights of the Apocalypse, Chapter 152, Resurrection. A boy with green hair, wait, does he have green hair in the shape of bird wings? No. It can't be, Worlden wondered after the sudden appearance of that person. And she kept on questioning, to appear right in front of me only to be killed along with him. What kind of curious person you are. Tell me, boy, are you a friend of these fairies? Or a human from Lion? And then Percival, staring at Worlden, replies, I am Percival of the Four Knights of the Apocalypse. And I have returned to strike you all down. However, Worlden doesn't believe he's telling the truth and asks if this is some kind of joke. Because according to the information she has, Percival is dead. So she asks for proof that he really is the real one. But soon, Worlden notices that something impossible has happened. Everyone who had been fatally shot by his attack was getting up as if nothing had happened. And this was also strange for King, Diane, and their children. For they were almost certain that they had been pierced at vital points. Meanwhile, Percival, still hugging nations, asks about his sword. But the herbalist apologizes and tells him that Prince Tristan ended up with the sword. Percival smiles, seemingly giving the impression that he understands. And Worlden, surprised, confirms that the boy is indeed Percival. And so, she declares, he must die again. The sorceress then fires several magical shots at Percival and nations. However, to Worlden's surprise, both Percival and nations were completely unharmed, as the Death Knight easily repelled each shot using only his magic sword. Against this backdrop, Worlden moved quickly away from Percival, leaping into the air while reciting a spell. However, in the blink of an eye, Percival cuts through the sky, overtaking the mage and striking a blow that destroys her helmet. Worlden, the White Knight of the Four Dangers. I want to ask you, do you still want to fight me? Percival asked. But with a peculiar expression, Worlden only replied, of course I did. And then the sorceress begins to manifest a great concentration of dark magic. A magical power so dense and powerful that it made the fairy kingdom tremble. This was the Dark Funeral, where Worlden decreed Percival's death by being charred by his black ray. But first, the Death Knight utters the following words: Najula Jamala, the ancestral dialect of the spirits of life and death. And seconds after uttering these words, something amazing happens to Worlden. And the dark magic she had invoked dissipates completely. And from below, perplexed, Diane and her children wondered what Percival had done, why Worlden had practically turned into a mummy. And King, impressed, asked himself, so that's the power of a life spirit? And at that moment Worlden was possessed, totally outraged by what Percival had done, and she muttered over and over again, how can you kill the human part of me? Percival. And don't be alarmed, because that was Worlden's current state. And it now made sense to Percival that she was still alive after what he had done. Since she was only half human, in other words, her other part wasn't human. However, even in that state, Worlden still manages to smile, with the 3 or 4 teeth she still has in her mouth, and the magician confesses that this was much better than she had expected. Worlden then seems to open some kind of portal, and says at the same time that it's not over yet. That Percival was completely mistaken if he thought he could defeat her. But Percival smiles and says, well, you're right, because I'm not the one who's going to defeat you. It's him. King was standing right behind Worlden with his spear emanating intense magical power, heading towards the sorceress. Diane and Tyra couldn't believe that King had regained his original form. The King of the Fairies then assumes his role of protecting the kingdom and his family, and attacks Worlden without any mercy. The White Knight is hit hard by the chastity fall. The sorceress wonders how he broke Kilbegan's curse? Since a curse as powerful as that, activated by sacrifice, cannot simply be broken. But it wasn't King who broke it, but Percival. He says he saved that lizard before it completely lost its life. And for Worlden that was the perfect ending. The King of the Fairies regained his power and dealt the final blow to the White Knight, and Percival was finally resurrected to the happiness of nations and all his other friends whom he will soon meet again. Continued in the next chapter, entitled, Towards a New Journey.